Okay, so since your time is valuable, I like to start as close to on time as possible. My name is Anne Marie Mavis. I am the publisher of Travel Market Report, and it is my honor to host today's Master Advisor series. Normally you see Dan McCarthy, our very talented and handsome editor at large of Travel Market Report. But we've decided that we're going to give Dan a break today. He's out on doing a special report. So I am, as I said, delighted to be here. I'm also delighted to introduce Heather Pietro. Heather is the owner of the Travel Sales Group, which I think, by the way, Heather is a phenomenal name for a travel agency. And Heather and I met about 2 months ago at an Apple Leisure Vacation Group executive retreat. So we got to talking, and I asked Heather, after hearing about all of her experience, I asked her if she would be a guest on our show. So we're delighted to have you, Heather.
Thank you. Delighted to be here. I've done so many of these with Dan that I've participated in, and I hope that I can give other people as many good little tidbits as I've learned from so many of my fellow agents.
In any case, this is our 53rd Master Advisor series, which we started during the pandemic. And we are so delighted to have had thousands and thousands of our readers participate as the audience. We want this to be beneficial for each of you. So we'd like you to be as interactive as possible and put your questions in the chat room, which I will take during the program, but we'll also save some time at the end. It is being recorded. So Tom will put in the chat room the information in regard to the recording link in case you would like to listen to this afterwards. And I also just want to announce that we do this every 2 weeks. The next one will be 2 weeks from today, also at 1 p.m. Eastern, and it will be about selling travel to the Caribbean. And we'll have one of our own, Kelly Fontanelle, with us, and 2 independent contractors. So we hope you join us then, and Dan will be back running those. So Heather, you know, as I said, I'm very excited to have you here, and I think you have a tremendous amount of experience. I believe you have 16 years 16 years as a travel advisor. And actually, I believe that you told me that it was you were planning your 10th anniversary with your then travel advisor, who then recruited you to become a part of her agency. So we may touch on that a little bit later at the end, because we know right now one of the greatest challenges in our industry is finding enough advisors, because the consumer demand is extraordinary. So I'd love for you to tell a little bit about how you were recruited and how you were trained. And then I believe in 2013 or 16, you started your own agency and now have 5 independent contractors. So without further ado, why don't you just tell a little bit about yourself, Heather, and what area of expertise we're talking about today?
Yes, I have been in the industry about 16 years, and thrilled to still be married to my husband, that we were celebrating our 10th anniversary back then. I came into the industry through that experience and hit the ground running. Within about a year, I was one of her top selling agents. So it's one of those things that when you find your passion, you run with it. So I moved from New York to North Carolina in 2013. And if there was ever going to be a good time for me to launch my own agency, that was going to be it. So I took advantage of that and have hired a few agents over that time. And I specialize in romance travel and large groups. And I think this group kind of gets born out of that, what we're talking about today. So Bachelor and Bachelorette parties are hugely profitable. They tend to be easy once you get that lead on board. So whether it be the maid of honor or one of the bridesmaids, or sometimes it's even the bride, once you get them, the rest of them are booking the same exact trip. So something that I kind of fell into, but I do have 2 grown daughters, and one of them is getting married in November herself. So I'm helping to plan her little getaway to the beach for her and her bridesmaids.
Excellent. So now let's get right into the marketing. So, you know, you were in the honeymoon, romance, destination wedding business. You sell a lot of other things. You know, when we first spoke, I thought to myself, can bachelorette and bachelor parties really be profitable? And you just mentioned that they are. Do you want to give me an example of how profitable it is compared to the other business in your agency?
Well, like I said, it's once you get that leader on board, it's so easy to sign up the rest of the girls. You can get anywhere from, and most of mine, I should clarify, most of mine are bachelorettes, but I do a few bachelor parties as well. If you get one, you'll get at least, the smallest one I've done is about 6 to 8 people. The largest one I've done is 32. So, I mean, when you have 32 girls going on a trip, that was to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico. That's pretty profitable. And then the even more profitable part of it is most of these girls are all about the same age, whether it be a younger group or a middle-aged group or whatever it is. A lot of them are in their mid-20s to early 30s. So not only are you getting that group and you're making a good amount of money on that, you usually get the honeymoon for that same group if it's not a destination wedding. And then all of those girls that are going on the trip, if they're unmarried, you get at least their honeymoon, a bachelorette party down the road, or a destination wedding. I've booked the same group of 10 girls 7 times over the past 4 years. And that group has grown from, I think we had 12 in the original group, and that's the one that was 32 this year.
That was going to be one of my questions, Heather. Do you find yourself getting a lot of repeat business from the individuals that you book?
Yes. I get a ton of repeat business, and then I get, if you take good care of them, it's like any other word of mouth business. If you take good care of them and they have a seamless trip and they have a great time and you arrange for little surprises when they get there and go that extra step, they refer people for other business. So we do very little advertising. Most of our advertising is word of mouth. It's referrals from previous clients. So when you have a group of 32 girls, that's 32 people that can then refer other people.
Have you ever done a bachelorette and a bachelor party together?
I have. They went and they stayed at the same resort, and I organized separate events for them on the same night. They all kind of hung out together over a long weekend, but we did 2 separate, it was booze buses on that particular trip. They each took separate buses to separate areas in Cabo.
Did any other weddings come out of that trip?
I'm trying to remember on that one. I think I got 2 or 3 honeymoons out of that one and 1 destination wedding.
Wow. And then, we always talk about the travel wallet where, you have somebody and they're beginning at their wedding and then you take them all through their married life and when they have children and then family vacations. Is the business recurring even outside of the romance area?
Yes. The very first bachelorette party that I did was for a client about, I would say 11 or 12 years ago. And I then booked her destination wedding, and it was very small. It was maybe 6 or 8 people that went to the destination wedding, but it was getting married outside of the US. And then I have booked her vacation every year since. I've gotten 3 destination weddings as referrals from her. And now she has 2 children. I think her oldest is 9. And I've booked their family vacation 3 or 4 times as well.
Wow,
and she's referred everyone in her family. And then those destination weddings that she's referred, I've gotten all of those bookings. Overall, if you did the math and multiplied it out, it's probably 40 or 50 bookings that I've gotten from that one party.
Wow, that is really amazing. And, again, I was thinking, are bachelorette and bachelor parties, are they high maintenance for you or are they more of ease?
I think anybody who does romance travel knows that sometimes they're easy and sometimes they're not. You get the really high touch clients that are very high maintenance and want you to arrange everything down to who's going to paint their toenails. And you get other ones that they just want to go away with a group of their friends. You get some that want to go and they want to just party and hang out at the pool. And I have others that want to go on a spa retreat and they want me to arrange all of their treatments. They want me to arrange special dinners off site, wine tastings. So it all depends on the client. Some of them are a piece of cake, and some of them are, I'm pulling my hair out and muting the phone while I'm yelling at it.
So, okay, so let's talk about the marketing of it. I mean, you covered a lot in terms of the referral side of the business, but how do you market that this is a business that you specialize in?
The biggest thing is actually bridal shows. A lot of people go to a bridal show and they give away a prize to the bride and groom, and they focus all of their attention on the bride and groom. When we do a bridal show, and we only do 1 or 2 a year, I bring in my whole team. Anybody that can be there that weekend. My grown children come and help out, and we do prizes, and we also do giveaways and discounts for everyone who comes to the show. We have 2 separate, we used to do boxes back in the day where we had 1 box that the bride filled out and 1 that the other people would fill out. We always market to mom and dad. After doing this and being so stressed out from planning this wedding, you need a vacation. So anybody who attends the show and fills out one of these forms, we do $100 off any land-based vacation. But what we've done in the past couple of years is, I don't know if anyone uses a program called MailChimp. That's one of the programs that we use to market. We will actually create a separate audience called Brides and Grooms 2021 or 2022. And then we'll have other bridal show attendees 2021, 2022. Well, when we go to fill out their entry form that they fill out when they come in, we actually have them fill out the thing that asks if they want to be a part of our mailing list. So instead of filling out an entry form, they're just going into our group for that particular bridal show. And then we automatically have that to market to them. In addition to being able to market that to them, we have it set up so as soon as that email, or as soon as that goes in there, they receive an email with my digital business card that says, if you click this link, it will save my information into your phone. And whenever you're ready to travel, whether it be for this or for any occasion in the future, look for me and I'll be right in there in your phone.
That's really a great idea. Can you just repeat that so that everybody gets that?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter, all of the different marketing companies that do email advertising have something similar to this, but MailChimp, you can create an audience for each individual event that you do. We create 2 from each event. And when they go to sign up, we all have, and we have extras, iPads, phones, literally every electronic anything that we have to use goes to that show, and we have them set up. And so everybody is led to filter all of these people that are attending. They go in and they fill out what they're looking at as their entry form. And we tell them that we pick a winner from everyone who signs up for our email list. So they automatically go into the email list when they fill that form out. And it's very simple. It's name, email, phone number. I don't ask for addresses. I don't ask for any of that stuff because we don't need it. Mm-hmm. And then I can spend my time selling myself and my services to all of these people that are coming in. You don't want to spend your time getting the information. You want to spend your time showing them you're an expert. So once that email goes in, and you can set it up so they get an auto reply every time somebody enters your database. So they get an auto reply that has my contact information. They click a link and save it to their phone. All of my other agents that come, any of my ICs that come, obviously my daughters have my contact information in theirs, will have their contact information. And so that will get set up to go to them.
That's excellent. Now, so the bridal shows are the number one. Then you're collecting all of this valuable information, the contact information. Tell me a little bit about what you do with your database, how you keep it, how often you use it, what tools you use to communicate with your customers.
I got much, much better about this during COVID because I actually had the time to sit down and learn a lot of these processes and get myself better organized. I will tell you, my marketing was not my strongest point before COVID. We are members of Nest, which is Nest Travel Savers, Affluent Traveler. And they have some great direct mail pieces. They have some great email pieces that you can use. So I will go in and say, AM Resorts is running some type of flyer or mailer or email blast. I will go in and sign up for that. And then you can actually go in and in some of the programs, you can edit it. So I will edit it to promote their triple take promotion, which is 3 people stay in a room for the price of 2, or something that is about their last fling before the ring bachelorette package. And I'll program that in there, and then it goes out as a mailer. Or we'll do a newsletter, which is what we use MailChimp for. We send out a newsletter. I try to do them once a month. I will say on average, they go out once every other month right now, just because we're so busy. But yeah, once every month or 2, we send out a newsletter. We do a few escorted groups a year and we promote those. I'll promote again to that bachelorette group. I will promote the triple take promo. I will promote the last fling before the ring. If I see one of the resorts like Chic in Punta Cana has the mansion, and that's a great spot for a bachelorette party. It's 10 rooms. So if you have 10 or 15 girls, you can go, you have use of an all-inclusive resort, but you're staying in a literal mansion. So I will promote that product. And I send those out specifically to the bachelorette groups that we have collected info from.
Really interesting. And so basically you're segmenting your database?
Yes, we have it separated into, we call anybody, we have a hashtag called hashtag travel sales groupies. So we use that as one of our groups. If it's a generic, anybody we've done an FIT or a small group or anybody that's come in not in the romance sector, we will put them into one large group. We then have out of that group and out of our bridal group, we've taken and we have a few hundred that are our luxury, and we separate them into a different group. And then we have our romance travel. So that's anybody we've done a destination wedding or a honeymoon for. And then we have our bridal, our bridesmaids and things like that, that we're marketing specifically for bachelorette.
Which is excellent. There was a question. Can you please repeat the name of the resort mansion?
Chic. It's a Royalton Chic is the name of the resort, and the mansion is called Chic Mansion.
Thank you. There was a question.
Welcome.
There was a question about that, Heather. So the database is segmented. Is there an important time, or is there the right time, I should say, that after the bachelorette or the bachelor party or the wedding that you're doing is done, and then those people are in your database? Is there a good time after that that you start to communicate with them about other travel opportunities?
I think there is never a bad time, to be honest, to communicate those things, because I think the biggest responsibility that we have as agency owners and as advisors in general is to keep yourself front of mind. So I have had people, I've done bridal shows and I will send stuff once a month. As long as they're not unsubscribing, they're interested in what you have to say. So you have a captive audience. I don't believe in spamming them. I don't believe in sending, 4 times a week, sending stuff out that's nonstop, because all that's going to do is ask somebody to unsubscribe. But if you're sending something once every 2 weeks, once a month, the biggest thing is not how often you send it, it's how good the quality is. If you're slamming somebody constantly and all you're doing is offering them deals or promotions, they're not going to be very interested in what you have to say. There's got to be some value there. So we'll do top 10 lists of, the top 10 resorts to visit for a bachelorette party, or the top 10 beaches to have a destination wedding on. Or we'll do something about like when all of the protocols were changing. We did a thing about here's all the protocols. I live in the South, so there's a lot of people in the South, probably about 50% that are not vaccinated. So I know that a lot of my clientele are not vaccinated. So I put out a list of resorts that you can go to when you're not vaccinated. Islands you can go to when you're not vaccinated, because everybody, I cannot tell you how many calls I've gotten with people that say you have to be vaccinated to get on a plane, right? So there's a lot of misinformation out there, and our newsletters can be a source of correct information. Correct information is always of value to a client. So it's got to be some type of information that's valuable to them. It's got to be interesting. It can't bore them. I try to keep it as personal as I can. When I put something up about a resort or about something, there's photos of me, of one of my agents, of my husband. So it pulls it back to us. Again, it's bringing the attention back and keeping us front of mind.
And this list that you keep your database, do you also include them in your social media? Are they part of your
Anybody that I talk to on the phone, that I have a conversation with, while I'm on the phone with them during the first conversation, if I have their first and last name, and the same thing when I get a registration form through our CRM, the first thing I'm doing is looking them up on Facebook and friending them.
Excellent.
Because somebody gave me advice years ago, and it's some of the best advice I've ever gotten. It was, people will cheat on an online travel agency. If they're booking on Expedia, if they're booking on Cheap Caribbean, if they're going to any of these places, they'll book elsewhere and they won't feel guilty about it at all. If those people have seen pictures of your children graduating, they are invested. If you're commenting on their pictures and saying congratulations, or on their anniversary, we have it set up through our CRM so that they're automatically getting an email. But anybody who's in any kind of business knows that's a canned email, that they're getting it. Yes, it's coming from my email, but most of them know that I'm setting that up ahead of time. But if I'm personally going on Facebook and sending them a little happy birthday or happy anniversary, again, front of mind, it's keeping you in front of them and it's building that loyalty.
So now, Heather, let's just get back to the number one is the bridal shows. You've done an excellent job explaining then how you take that contact information, how you then communicate to those people before, during, and after. What are some other marketing tips to actually find the contact?
Finding the contact, I think, honestly, the only way that we do it is through bridal shows and through word of mouth.
Okay.
I would love to give you some other tips and suggestions. The only other thing that you could do, I know some people, and I have not personally done this, but I do know some agents that have, if you're in an area where there is a really good bar scene, you can go and you can partner with them and do, or a winery. That's another great one. If you have a winery near you, you can go and partner with them and actually host a bachelorette night. And most of the wineries will do it like a tasting. The bars will do it like an appetizer evening, something like that. But you can promote it through things like theknot.com, doing events like that. We honestly have had enough word of mouth that we have not had to do that. But it's a great way if you're just starting to build a book of business in this particular specialty.
Right. I would also think maybe jewelry stores where they're buying the engagement
Jewelry
ring,
stores are another great one. Yeah.
or bridal salons, where they're buying the
Tuxedo
dress.
shops, anything where they're, and I mean, I have a great hairdresser. I'm actually planning my hairdresser's destination wedding right now. That's somebody else that I could easily partner with to do something where you can put up something in the salon where you'll give $20 off per person when you plan your bachelorette party with us.
Great idea. Now, do you charge service fees? It's always a question that comes up on every MasterAdvisor series, and we know it's such a hot topic. So if you do, can you talk a little bit about that, Heather?
I just started charging service fees. We had what we called a plan to book deposit up until about midway through COVID. So about a year ago, we would take a plan to book deposit, which kind of got rid of the tire kickers. So if we charged $100 per person plan to book deposit and then gave them all of our information, we knew they were coming back to book with us because they're invested. But after all of the cancellations and working for free for a year, like everyone else on this call, we decided that, you know what, I pay my accountant, and that's because I can do my own taxes, but he's better at it than I am. Well, I guarantee I'm better at planning your vacation than you are. So I now charge a planning fee, and it is non-refundable. And we let them know that. And the way that I manage it is if it's one of these brides that has been back to me multiple times, or a bridesmaid when I'm planning the destination wedding or a honeymoon for the bride, I will waive that fee because I know they're going to give me the business, but I will make it very clear that if for any reason anyone has to cancel, I am waiving the $100 planning fee, but I will keep that as a cancellation fee.
Wow. And do you
So
put that
either
in
way,
writing?
I'm making the money.
Exactly. I mean, that's a really fair way. Do you put
Yes.
that in writing?
I do. It goes to them in an email. And I was just on, I am a member of Allies. So I was just on a call yesterday with, they had an attorney who was coming on and giving everybody advice about different things. It is now going to go into my terms and conditions because it belongs there and I haven't had it there before.
Excellent. Noreen is asking you, Heather, do you face the Airbnb objection with all-inclusive resorts? She finds that a challenge.
I do on occasion. And what I tell people, I use the example, there was an Airbnb in Mexico last year that was all over the news. A family of 4 went down there and they were supposed to be coming back and their whole family was looking for them and they couldn't find them. And it turns out that they had no CO2 detector in the Airbnb. And unfortunately, the whole family passed away from CO2 poisoning.
Oh my gosh.
So I will use that as an extreme example and say the difference is between the resorts that I sell and the Airbnbs that you're looking at online. Our stuff is all vetted. I've been there. If we're promoting it on our website, either myself or one of my agents have been to this property. We've seen it. We've tasted the food. We have a relationship with the management team. So that's the difference, is you know what you're getting. With an Airbnb, I'm going to be honest, I've rented Airbnbs. I've had good experiences and I've had not so great experiences. I rented one on the Carolina coast a couple of years ago. We had to call 3 times to have it sprayed for roaches while we were there. That doesn't happen a lot at resorts. And if it does, I'm going to get you an upgrade. I'm going to get you a spa service. If it happens, I'm going to make sure that you're well compensated for the fact that it happened. If it happens at an Airbnb, they're going to say, oh, I'll send somebody over to spray. It's all about service levels and things like that. And if what they're looking for is the Airbnb experience, we have a couple of great villa companies, and I can put you in a villa for not much more than what you're going to spend at an Airbnb.
I was just going to bring that up. So you work with villas. Is there anyone in particular?
I do. I love Villas of Distinction. I would say my rep's name, but then you would all use him. And he's awesome and very busy already. I use them all the time. At least I would say 4 to 6 bookings in the last 6 months that I've booked. And most of my clients, when they use those villas, will turn around and book either while they're there or as soon as they come back. I have a guy that's leaving in 2 weeks to go to one that's called Canoe Cove in Jamaica. This is his 4th visit, and every single one of them, he's booked it while he's there. He emails me and says, I want to book it for next year.
Okay.
And they have had my back. I had one that we had an issue with the villa. They have backed me up 100%. It's a company that I absolutely love.
Which is exactly what that's a great segue into the supplier side of this business. And again, I know that you're on a number of advisory boards, and I really don't want to do commercials for specific, but it happens to be that the 2 or 3 that you mentioned are partners with Travel Market Report. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But what do you believe the suppliers have an understanding of, actually running bachelor and bachelorette parties? I mean, suppliers, of course, have expertise in a lot of niches. Are they concentrating in this area?
They're not concentrating in this area enough, but there are a few that have definitely taken advantage of it. I mentioned Breathless earlier. They're my go-to for bachelorettes. It's who I use. I would say anybody who's going into the Caribbean and Mexico, I would say it's 75% of the time. That's where my clients are going. If they don't want a villa, and villas are great for this, by the way. When you can tell somebody that you can get them a villa attached to a resort and get them a private chef, who doesn't want to be on Instagram bragging about what the private chef made that morning? But Breathless has done a phenomenal job. They have the Take 3 program, triple take program that is 3 people stay in a room and you only pay for 2. The biggest piece of advice or tip that I would give you about this is it's a phenomenal product. Make sure that the insurance that you are booking with this product covers if one of them cancels, because this is very different than most of our other bookings, because most of your other bookings, if you have 3 people in a room and one person is canceling, they're all canceling. With bachelorette parties or bachelor parties, that is not always the case. I just had one that I did last year, and of course, mid-COVID, we had 3 different rooms where there was 3 girls in a room and one of them canceled. Well, when you're doing a promo, like a triple take promo, they're only paying for 2 girls. So if one of them cancels, those 2 girls are still paying the same amount. So if you don't have the right kind of insurance on that booking, you're going to have 2 very upset bridesmaids on your hands that don't understand why they have to pay more.
That is a great tip. And again, another great segue into insurance. I have to believe that there is some liability for you on the advisor side in having bachelorette and bachelor parties as part of your expertise. Are you recommending, do all of your clients take insurance, and do you struggle with selling it?
We actually don't right now, especially. I think most of the agents on the call would agree that this is the best time ever for selling insurance. We don't have difficulty selling it right now, but I have gotten to the point where no matter what kind of package I'm selling, every single thing that we have says we strongly recommend travel insurance. It's on our registration form through our CRM that they have to tell us whether they want insurance or not when they fill it out. And even if they fill that out and say no, we still send them a quote. And if they don't purchase the insurance, they get reminders we use Travel Insured. So they get reminders 3 times after that you haven't purchased insurance. We strongly recommend this. You could be liable for full penalties. So it's a constant reminder. I can't imagine not selling it. We strongly recommend it even more with bachelorette parties. And I warn them, especially if I'm booking them in a promo or in a room where they're even in with 3 people, that they are going to be liable if anybody in the room cancels to cover their portion of the trip unless they take out the insurance.
That's great, which, also brings up not just the liability in selling insurance, which obviously also increases your profitability. I mean, it's just a good business decision to be recommending it, but you also have to think about, your revenue streams. So are there additional revenue streams that we haven't talked about that you actually sell when selling bachelorette and bachelor parties?
There are. The biggest one, again, I don't mean to harp on breathless, but it is the one that I use so often. They have what's called the last fling before the ring. And it is a complete package that you can sell that is 100% commissionable. It's available. I do most of my booking through Travel Impressions. It's available right on Vax. So you can add it on every single one of their packages right in Vax and earn your commission right through there. You don't have to chase anybody down to get it. That package is $135 a person. So, I mean, do the math. That one that I did 32 people, every single one of them took that package. So the commission on $135 times 32 girls was a pretty good amount of money in my pocket. And that it also adds value to their trip. So it makes it a better trip for them on top of me making money. They get a scavenger hunt that they custom put together that they have to do throughout the resort. They get a package where they get a photograph taken in their choice of location. It's usually on the beach by the water. And each girl gets one of those photos. They get a designated spot at the nightclub with bottle service. They get a designated area on the beach or by the pool. And sometimes they'll include the cabana, or if they have 20 girls, they'll include 10 chairs with bottle service there as well. And you get a group dinner reservation. And then, of course, all of the ladies like to get a little spa treatment. You get a mani-pedi and a 25-minute massage.
Wow.
So it's a really good value for them, and it's money in our pocket that we can sell ahead of time.
Which I think is really an important point in today's environment for all of you as travel advisors. It's finding the revenue streams that are going to increase your profitability. And as Heather said, provide additional value to the client. It is so easy when it's additional value to the client where you're actually giving them a service, but at the same time, it's increasing your profitability. So keep that in mind with everything that you sell. If you provide the value, find the revenue stream behind that.
Well, it's all about the experience. If you're adding, people go to a resort and they have a good time at the resort. But when you talk to somebody about their vacation when they came back, are they telling you about the resort, or are they telling you about the catamaran cruise they went on? Or are they telling you about how beautiful the spa was, or what a great time they had at this group dinner that they had? So that's the stuff that they're going to remember. I mean, the resort can be beautiful, and it should be. That should be a big piece of it. But one of the things that I book for more than half is a catamaran cruise. You can do a private catamaran cruise for less than $100 a person, as long as you have more than 12 people in a group. And I'm talking a luxury catamaran you can specify the type of vodka they want on the boat. So when you're doing things like that and you're calling ahead and you know that the bride loves chocolate dipped strawberries and is a huge Steelers fan, I have my guy in each destination that I sell. I reach out to them ahead of time. I book the catamaran. I add a little bit so that I'm making a little in commission. And then I say, the bride is a huge Steelers fan. So if you can have everything themed in black and gold and have rings hanging around the boat, they know I did that before they got there. Because how does that boat captain know that they're a Steelers fan? They're never going to another travel advisor after they had that experience. So those are the little value adds that you can add that put money in your pocket, but also solidify that person as your client for the rest of your life.
That is a great tip. That is a great tip because you're personalizing it. So if you can personalize it, and as you said, then add a piece, a piece of the charge that goes to you, that's really excellent. Heather, and just to the audience, we have about 10 minutes left, so please, we're following your questions, and I see that some of the TMR team are answering. One question, they wanted to know the villa that you mentioned with the private chef, are those meals included, or is that additional costs with the chef?
It's almost always an additional cost. With that one, that particular villa I love because the entire staff is included. Not only do you have a chef, a maid, a butler, you have a beach butler and a gardener with that particular villa. And it's not cheap, but it's, I think it usually runs about $20,000 a week. But for those of us who make commission, think about what the commission check is on that $20,000 a week that he's booked every year for the past 4 years. And my favorite part about using that particular villa company is that I book them, I get their registration form sent in, and I don't do anything else. The concierge through the villa company does everything else. If they send me a request, I send it to the villa manager. If they want private transfers, I send it to the villa manager. I can book those if I want to, and I can make that little bit of extra commission on those, but I can also send it to the villa manager and they take care of all of it in one package. Other villas that are a little less expensive, some of those you have to add on the private chef, but in about 80% of the villa inventory, it is available to be added on. And they have them for those of you who have people. I know the Northeast, there is still a lot, and even the Northwest, there are still a lot of people that are a little hesitant because of COVID. If people are looking for villas domestically, they have them in the mountains. I've sent a bachelorette party up into the mountains. The bride wasn't a beach girl. So really get to know your bride and send her where she wants to go. She didn't want an all-inclusive resort. She wanted to go up in the mountains, and she was big into hiking. So I found her a villa that was right near a phenomenal hiking trail in Utah. She goes, she hikes up the hiking trail. They come down and you make sure that the butler has champagne and strawberries waiting for them on the table. You send them a little gift when they arrive, something that's very personal, because of course you've gotten to know the bride. So you send those little gifts, or I'll send each of the bridesmaids, I'll go and get the little dollar store blow up rings that you can put a drink in the pool. If they're renting a private villa, send each of those with their documents. It costs you $12, and they will think of you every time they use one the whole time they're on the trip.
These are great tips. Now, Heather, there must be some challenges in managing bachelorette and bachelor parties. Can you think of any experience that was not a good one, and how you solved it? Or can you give the audience any ideas of some things to watch out for that may become a challenge?
I mean, everybody has had bad experiences in the last 2 years. And that's what's caused it. It's those bridesmaids that canceled. That was a bad one. The one I had 3 different ones in 3 different rooms, and I had other bridesmaids that were in those rooms calling me and screaming. And that's a lesson I learned the hard way. One of them had taken out one kind of insurance, and the other 2 took out aftermarket insurance that covered that. So I learned very quickly that this may be really good insurance for some things, but the travel insured policy covered that. So now anytime I have a bachelor or a bachelorette party where there's more than 2 people in a room, I'm booking that package instead of the other one. The only other real challenge that I've had is I have had girls that got to a resort and a couple of them didn't get along. And there was nothing I could really do. I told the girls, I can't get you a refund, but I can move the 2 or 3 that were having an issue. I can move them to another resort nearby.
Okay. Are there any other tips from a marketing perspective? And again, to all of you, the advisors that are on this call, any other questions that you have? We have about 5 more minutes. So I'd like to give Heather anything that you're thinking about. One question that Penny has, are you booking the groups with the package, or are the guests booking on their own?
That varies. To be honest, I have gotten away from booking air as much as I used to. More of these bachelorettes are coming from different areas of the country. Usually a lot of them are, spread out. So I will usually in that case kind of take advantage of that situation a little, if I want to put it that way, and say, this may be easier for you if I just book the land and the transfers and your excursions, and you guys book your own air and just send it to me, and I'll make sure your transfers are waiting for you when you get there. But I've also had people that have said, well, I'm coming from New York and my friend is coming from Chicago. Can you book her on a flight that comes through New York so that we can arrive at the same time? And I'll do that as well. Just depends on what they want. Our whole business is based on catering our services to what that particular client needs. So it's all about getting to know them. That is anybody who's in this business, that is the biggest piece of advice I give them. And a lot of that is being friends with them on Facebook. If you see somebody that's constantly posting stuff about golf on Facebook, when they're going to do a bachelor party, you propose, and you don't have to act like you're stalking them and like, this. You just say, I don't know, I've got a couple ideas. What do you guys like to do? Are you a golfer, or do you like to play tennis? And you already know he's a golfer. But when you ask the question, he'll go, oh, a lot of the guys love to golf. All right, well, this resort offers 2 free rounds of golf. So why don't we try and steer you in that direction? So getting to know your client will make it so that you can answer those questions easier.
Great. And also Danny James would like to know, are there any new or trending destinations that bachelorette or bachelor groups are going to? I
don't know that it's new. Turks is trending big time right now. And I'm getting a lot of requests for that. I've gotten a couple for Europe. Most of them don't end up going there. They're interested in Europe, but then when they see the price of Europe, they're not going there. And they think they're going to fly to Europe in 4 hours, and they're not. The other trends I'm seeing more in like in the United States, more domestic. I've had a lot of New Orleans. I've had a lot of Nashville. Those have been big the past couple of years.
Okay.
But the biggest trends that I'm seeing are the same ones that I have seen. The villas is another big trend right now. But that's a big trend across the industry. Mexico and Dominican Republic are my 2 top destinations, just because of ease of getting there, especially when you have people coming from different places. But for whatever reason, Nashville, New Orleans, Turks, those are the biggest ones I'm seeing right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Diane is complimenting you, saying you have so many exciting things for your clients. How do you find this information? I have to believe, Heather, after listening to you, you're a very creative, resourceful person. But are there specific areas that you do some research to come up with different tips and ideas and gifts for your clients?
I honestly, I kind of always go with what would I like to receive? And even if it's something small, it's I go back to the getting to know them. And then just by following them on Facebook, and there are times, and my husband makes fun of me for this, where I will wake up in the morning and I go on my phone and I'm scrolling through. If you favorite all of your clients, I put them in a separate group. They're in a group as clients on Facebook. But then I make it so I see my clients' posts first, and then like my close acquaintances and friends. So I see all of the things that they're doing, and then I get ideas from that. As far as ideas for resorts, in 15, 16 years of being in the business, I have tons of friends who are advisors. And if I don't tell you to do anything else, go to group functions. Like I know Penny is on here. Penny and I have had many conversations at different events that we've gone to for Nest and Travel Savers. I've learned stuff from Penny. It's just exchange of ideas and being open. I know we're all competitors, but we also can all learn things from one another. Being a part of female leaders and allies, that group of women and men teaches me a ton of stuff all the time. I'm constantly talking to people. Anne Marie will tell you I never shut up. So it's when you're talking at conferences and things, as important as the things you're learning at the conference is spending time talking to those advisors and just learning about all of that kind of stuff. Somebody just an agent told me about a great post-trip gift about taking a picture. This is something I do too. If they posted a picture on Instagram or Facebook, go to the dollar store and get a cute little frame with a palm tree on it. Take the picture, print it from Facebook, and send it to them with their thank you card. It costs you $1.
Right. And you know what, that I've seen that as well in marketing, that, people really want the hard copy of the photo, that we all have so many photos on our phone, but to send them, is just a little special, and they remember you then.
And you can go on Amazon. You can there's little plexi magnetic photograph holders that are like a 3x5 or a 4x6. You can buy them in bulk, 24 at a time. And then while your client is on vacation, they are way more likely to tag you in a picture when you're sending it to them when they come home. So, Absolutely. And then they're going to take it and they're going to put that magnet on the fridge. And every time they walk by the fridge, they're going to think of their vacation and they're going to think of you.
And also, just to give a plug for Travel Market Report, Heather, I know you're aware that we have many shareable stories. So often when you were speaking earlier about the content and you provide them with information in your newsletter, a lot of advisors are taking what we call our shareable stories. And there is an icon on Travel Market Report Daily that shows what's shareable, meaning it's not trade specifics, so that you can then forward it to your clients. It just lets them show that you're up to speed with things and that you're providing them with information. One agent asked, do you believe that Facebook, that younger people aren't going on Facebook anymore? So, and you've talked a lot about Facebook. Are you using other social media, such as Instagram as well?
Yes. I am on Instagram and I use it regularly. But what I do is anything I share on Instagram goes to Facebook. I find I get more engagement from Facebook, but I think the primary reason for that is my age. Most of the people my age and most of my clients are on Facebook. Most of the brides that I deal with are in their late 20s, early 30s. They are on Instagram, they are on Snapchat. I have just gotten more return on investment with the time that I've spent on Facebook, but I absolutely use Instagram as well. On Instagram, I tend to do more of just destination photos, things like that. Anything that I want engagement, answers, back and forth with my clients, I get way more of that on Facebook than I do on Instagram.
And it goes
that's
right
just
back.
A personal thing. If you're a millennial, chances are your friends, you're going to get more engagement over on Instagram. So they say to be on at least 3 and be a master at 1.
Absolutely. And I think it goes back to your earlier point that know your client. So if you know your client, you'll know what they're using from a social media perspective, and you'll communicate with them there and through your own CRM, as Heather said. Well, this has been excellent. I can't tell you all the comments that you're getting, Heather, about the information. Somebody said, Richard said, this is by far one of the best webinars I have experienced. So thank you on behalf of Market Report, I want to thank you not only for all the information and the expertise and knowledge that you have, but because of your willingness to share it with your peers. And that's what our industry and Travel Market Report is all about. We are the voice of the travel advisor, and we want to represent you, and we want to share expertise and great tips with you so that you continue to learn and grow. And anyone on this call, if you would ever like to be sharing expertise and like to be part of the Master Advisor series, please put it in the chat room. Or if you want to be part of our podcast, we welcome opportunities to speak with each of you individually and to share your information with the rest of our over 60,000 advisors. Next week, we're going to be in Toronto. Travel Marketplace will be taking place. So for those of you that are in the Toronto area, I look forward to seeing you. And again, Heather, thank you so much. And we'll see everybody in about 2 weeks back at 1 p.m. To learn about selling in the Caribbean. Heather, thank you so much. We so appreciate you.
Thank you. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. It's heather@travelsalesgirl.com. We all need to help each other. So there are times when I reach out to my colleagues with questions. If anybody is looking to break into this market and has questions, please don't hesitate.
Thank you so much, Heather. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.